There are two formulas when converting between Fahrenheit and Celsius degrees, one that takes you from Celsius into Fahrenheit, and then one that goes from Fahrenheit into Celsius. Notice that one of the formulas does not have parentheses and the other one does. Now, why is this the case? The reason is that these two formulas are inverses of each other, and the parentheses here are necessary to make sure that we follow the necessary order of operations. That is very abstract sounding, but we can see this by putting numbers into the formula. So I'm going to use this equation to convert 5 degrees Celsius into Fahrenheit, and I'm going to list out the steps that happen. So I'm asking the question of, well, if we have 5 degrees Celsius, what does that equal in terms of degrees Fahrenheit? Well, what you do is 2 steps. You would put a 5 here, first multiply by 9/5, and then add 32. So let's write that out. So step 1, into the formula, we just put the number 5. And step 1 is take 5 and multiply it by 9/5. And 5 times 9/5 is simply equal to 9. So this simplifies to f is equal to really 9 plus 32. Now what's the second step? The second step is to add these two numbers together. And when you add 9 to 32, you get 41. And this is now in degrees Fahrenheit. So we actually just answered the question, okay, 5 degrees Celsius is equal to 41 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, this formula is the inverse of this formula, and that just means it should take the number 41 degrees Fahrenheit and give us 5 degrees Celsius back. So I know what should happen over here. In this formula, if you put the number 41 in place of degrees Fahrenheit, it should give you the answer back of 5 degrees Celsius. But to make sure that this formula works, that's the same thing as saying completely reverse these steps. To completely reverse these, you would, as your first step, subtract 32. And then as your second step, well, you wouldn't multiply by 9/5, you'd multiply by 5/9. So we're doing all this stuff backwards. So according to this formula, the first step is going to be to put 41 in place of f. And I want to make sure we first subtract the 32. And that's the reason these parentheses have to be here. If these parentheses were not here, the first step would be to multiply by 5/9. And we don't want that to be our first step. We want that to be our second step. So step 1 is we put 41 in place of f, and we want to first subtract 32. Again, that is the reason for those parentheses. When you simplify this thing, you have 5/9 times, and 41 minus 32 is 9. Now, as your second step, you want to multiply these two numbers together. 5/9 times 9 is simply equal to 5. And this did the correct conversion for us. What did it do? It took 41 degrees Fahrenheit and sent it to 5 degrees Celsius. So again, the reason for these parentheses here is to ensure that we completely reverse these steps in the correct order. If these parentheses were not there, the first step would have been multiplying by 5/9, and that's not how we'd want this process to go.